Do you want to let the other teams in the league take the league winners, or do you want to win the league? We'll talk about that and do a mock draft. Producer,
let's.
Welcome once again to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz right here on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, and brought to you by Southern Bluegrass Fantasy Football Championship. Also brought to you by Agua, Holland's best Bolivian herbal liqueur made with coca, which this show isn't sponsored by them, but it's definitely bringing you my side of the content. Cheers.
Cheers.
We're here to mock draft some league winners that you have to have. These are guys that you cannot leave your draft without. We're going to talk about them. We're going to do the mock draft, and we're just waiting for it to come up. It's now open. Enter the draft. Let's go.
We're ready to rock here. And yeah, bigz, it's our first mock draft of this offseason here, getting into redraft season. And this is a 12-team PPR redraft format. This mock is about reading the wins. Let's get this going on. I'm going to pull up the mock draft board as it's going to start right away. And let's get it up here. Can we see that okay, bigz?
I don't know, Mike, because I'm in. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it just fine. But I'm gonna get out of our camera room, and I'm gonna be in the draft room, just because I don't want any shenanigans. I don't want anything going wrong.
In the draft room. All right, so let's.
Here we go, and of course, this is a 12-team ESPN redraft draft. And looks like somebody just I'm on the clock, and I'm going to smash Jeanty. Smashed Jeanty.
Okay, so what's your strategy here, bigz, headed into this? Okay, we know
Ashton Jeanty.
Ashton Jeanty is your guy. You're gonna get him. That's your first round kind of pick at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
Why so? Just a hometown here.
No, it's analytical, absolutely analytical. So looking at his performance at Boise State, looking at what he did in 2023 in the passing game, look at what Chip Kelly does to rookie running backs, looking at what the needs of the Las Vegas Raiders are, looking at the weapons that they brought in. There's going to be this is going to be a high-powered offense, and a lot of people are really sleeping on the Raiders. I happen to be close because I'm a fan. But if you look at everything that's happening with Chip Kelly, with the two burners on the outside, with the fact that Geno Smith throws the ball deep, so you're not going to be able to account for the short game. Everything is open for a huge season for 3 or 4 of these Las Vegas Raiders in fantasy. Jeanty is the primary one for me, and I'm super high on him. So I am trying to draft him everywhere I can. Essentially, it depends on draft slot. This is a mock that we got to pick the draft slot, so I picked the 3rd spot so that I could get him. You're going to be randomized with your picks, so you're not going to necessarily have that luxury, but that's my plan.
That's a great plan. And then for me, I like if I can get it on the end of the first round here, like if I get on the end of the board in the 110, 111, 112, I think that's the sweet spot in these drafts at this stage of the season. From what I see here, you can get a lot of value here. I went Malik Nabers and Drake London, 2 guys I have as top 5 wide receivers headed into 2025. I think Drake London is prime for a monster year, and Malik Nabers as well. Look at the connection in camp that we've seen just based off of him and Russell Wilson already. I think he scored 3 touchdowns yesterday in the 11-11s. great opportunity here for both of these guys. I would have liked to have taken a running back early, but this draft is savvy. They had a huge run early with Jeanty, like you mentioned, Bijan, McCaffrey, and Gibbs, all Etienne, all going in the first round. So I saw value here getting two guys I think can finish in the top 5 at the position. What are your thoughts on Drake London here, Biggs, headed into 2025?
I like Drake London. I think that the triumvirate of Pitts, London, and Mooney is going to be okay. There's not a whole lot of competition beyond that. And Bijan Robinson is going to have his 60 receptions. I think they're going to be much improved from last year with Kirk Cousins at the helm. And so, yeah, I see an uptick for Drake London and love him in the second round.
So what's your angle here now headed into your double click here? You're kind of at the end of the second year, headed into the top of the third. You got 2 picks headed in here. What's your strategy now, Big?
So I would go running back again. I was kind of hoping Josh Jacobs would fall. It looks like I'm going to probably get either Brock Bowers or Trey McBride. So I wanted running back, but they didn't really last. I'm not a huge Bucky Irving and Kyron Williams fan. Agree. So I'm going to take Trey McBride here.
I like that pick. I have him as the number 1 tight end this year. I think his touchdown regression is going to happen in the positive way. There, Bucky Irving goes right after you. So if Brock Bowers comes around at the corner here, is that a consideration for you here, Biggs, knowing that you can get the top 2 elite guys?
Yes, but since we're doing content here, I wanted to kind of diversify. And he's still available. But no, I wanted to diversify and make sure that I didn't look like a homer. So I took Kenneth Walker because I think he's going to have a huge year too.
I agree. And then there goes Chase Brown. So a couple of the guys that I have pegged as sleepers to get into the top 10. Once again, I think Chase Brown has got all the opportunity in the world here to really seize on what he did at the end of last year. And Kenneth Walker, too, with the new system here that is really going to thrive and making, him a little bit more successful, opening up those holes for him. I really like Kenneth Walker this year. If he could stay healthy, I think he's a smash. A guy that could get into the top 10 easily if a full season of health is upon him.
Yeah, and people who are followers of the show that were watching in the preseason last year knew that I was really, really big going into the season on Clint Kubiak. Now, Clint Kubiak was the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints to start the year last year. And you saw the first couple games, they absolutely exploded. Derek Carr was having like a career year in the first couple games. They were scoring 40 points a game, etc. That's what Clint Kubiak brings to the table. What you can't kind of account for is the injuries that the New Orleans Saints suffered. Well, Clint Kubiak is now the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator. And what he's done is he's gone out and he's kind of solidified the run game in bringing in a huge fullback, which is kind of his stock in trade. He's also got blocking tight ends, a blocking tight end and AJ Barner, and then kind of a big slot in Elijah Arroyo, who I'm pretty big on. But what that means for the Seahawks running game is that Kenneth Walker III is going to have a fullback who and 12 personnel sets, 2 tight end sets that are going to be accounting for blockers that weren't accounted for last year. And I think he's going to have a lot more room to run, and he's going to have a much bigger year and stay healthy. And that's the big key with him.
So now, Biggs, we've seen a pretty big run here of the top 4 quarterbacks right now. Actually, the top 3 are headed off the board, and we're still waiting on Joe Burrow. Top 4, top 5 here. So this is a year where if you can't get in the top 5, it's kind of like punt quarterback, in my opinion. I'm still not of the mindset to grab one in 1 quarterback leagues this early. We'll see where Joe Burrow falls. If he can get back to me in the 5th, that might be a consideration for me, late 5th, early 6th. But I'm in the mindset that I'm going to be punting quarterback, especially this year when you see a bunch of the guys that I see have a lot of value later on in the drafts. A guy like
Right.
Drake May, Bo Nix, who's going a bit later. I see a lot of upside here. What's your thoughts on the late round quarterback this year in fantasy?
Well, you know me, and you know that every year I'm a late round quarterback guy. I don't like taking a quarterback until the 9th round. I think that there's enough quarterbacks, especially in single quarterback leagues, especially in the ESPN redraft format, that you can afford to wait, and you can double tap in the 9th and 10th, or in the 10th and 11th, two guys where you have the possibility that somebody is going to absolutely break out, like a Drake May. Hang on, it's my pick, and I'm gonna stick with the Seahawks offense here. I'm gonna take JSN. But you can wait, and you'll get a guy like Drake May, who was second in the NFL in scramble yards last year. You can get a guy like Brock Purdy, who we always know he has a lot of scramble yards, which is the cheat code, and he has that the fantasy points per drop back. And the San Francisco 49ers this year have the easiest schedule in the NFL. So you know that you can get somebody late. You don't have to spend draft capital. So right now I'm looking at a team where I have Trey McBride, who's the tight end 1A, 1B, whatever. Ashton Jeanty, who's going to be a top 3 running back. Kenneth Walker, the third, who has the opportunity to be a top 5 running back. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's going to be a wide receiver 1. And I don't have to worry about the quarterback position yet. So right now I'm looking at upside with wide receiver, and let's tap this DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers relationship.
I really like that, bigz, and I think that DK Metcalf, even one of the bigger splashes made this offseason in reality here, and he's kind of going under the radar. He hasn't had that spotlight, if you will, that George Pickens has going to the Cowboys, and I think this is the right situation for DK with Aaron Rodgers. In a Mike Tomlin, situation where he likes to target one wide receiver. We know that right away. I think DK Metcalf could emerge as a top pick, a guy that you could really lean on as your wide receiver too, like you got here, and have no qualms about it. I see 1,000-yard potential, 10 touchdown season here for DK, and that's not out of the range. The Steelers, they think they made a huge upgrade here at quarterback for this season, and they've been playoff team for the last decade in reality. So I could see this being a really good situation for DK to really thrive in that offense.
Yeah, and what I'm looking at is the fact that there aren't a whole lot of other options. They did scuttle off George Pickens. You've got Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. But then after that, what are we looking at? We're looking at Roman Wilson, who's completely unproven. We're looking at Calvin Austin, who, you can say he's unproven, but he's been around. He hasn't jumped up. He hasn't stepped up and taken the reins of anything. So how much can we really expect from him? I like him a little bit, but he's not going to take anything away from DK Metcalf. So if there's one thing that we know about Aaron Rodgers, he needs a wide receiver 1. That guy is DK Metcalf. In no matter how bad a team is, the quarterback and wide receiver 1 relationship is productive in fantasy. So don't worry about how good or bad the team is until you start talking about wide receiver 3 and RB2 and things like that. So DK Metcalf is perfect for me there.
There you have it. Now, I'm headed into a couple picks here where, I'm in a position here where I'm looking for high upside now in my flex plays, because I've hit my running back 1, my running back 2. Seeing Breece Hall slide to me in the 4th round, I thought that was a huge blessing for me. Now I'm looking at high upside plays. I may look at, filtering in, a running back here with an opportunity. There's a lot of options here, and I'm on the clock. I see some quarterback action, and I'm going to go with a guy that I think has a lot of opportunity this year, and a guy that, he's got the chops to have some play right away. And if I think that Drake May is going to have a good season, I think that's a direct reflection of a guy like Travion Henderson, who can really float this year's boat, in my opinion, as a pass catcher, as a blocker, and be a guy that Josh McDaniels has relied on over the years. We know a White or Dion Lewis can emerge in their backfield with 100 receptions. I'm not saying
Lan
that's going to happen.
Larison,
Yeah, Lan Larison is going to be there too. Like that could be a 1-2 punch for the next couple of years here, and I really like the upside here. A guy that could really flash in an opportunity.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think that there are only a couple of running backs that I have my eye on right now. Travion is not one of them. It's basically Caleb Johnson. It was Quinshon Judkins until recent news, and Ashton Jeanty. I just don't think Travion is going to get the volume that we want from where he's going in ADP.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, this is based off of my intuition. I think with the two guys I have here, I think that by the end of this season, I think Trevian Henderson could really carve himself out a role there and be a guy that can really help propel your team down the line. I wouldn't use him as like an RB2. He's a great RB3 flex play, and in a position like this, I think this is a great opportunity for a guy that catches a lot of passes potentially. So yeah,
I'm not privy to your roster right now, so I'm just I don't see where he is in your roster construction. I'm just
exactly
expressing my take.
So Jakobi Meyers here, bigz, another Las Vegas Raider. You think that he's going to build off of that momentum from last year? He's kind of a target hog in that system. And Geno Smith has got an arm. So what's your take here on Jakobi?
Anybody who's going to get 120 plus targets in a season, as a flex play, I like that.
Exactly. And that's what we're talking about. High upside now. We're in the rounds where we know our top positions are essentially solidified here. Some of us are waiting on tight end. Some of us are waiting on quarterback. I haven't picked either one of those yet. And I think this is a time where I'm going to start looking at some values here. Here's a huge tight end run that started up here. We got Travis Kelce, followed by Njoku, by Mark Andrews, and then Evan Ingram. So interesting flow here. People are really, seeing these runs. And what I have to tell viewers here of our show is don't get too caught up on the runs because, you can't get stressed out and reach for a guy. If a run is happening, pivot. There's got to be value elsewhere, right, bigz?
Sure. And if you have Trey McBride, you don't have to worry about it anyway.
Exactly. So if you have the opportunity to draft one of those elite tight ends, and then you could just set it and forget it. But we already know that tight end has always been a position in the past that you could stream on regular, and I don't think that this year is any different with some of these younger guys. This tight end class has been proven to be some people say elite, if you will, and we're not quite there yet. We haven't seen them on the field, but we got guys that you mentioned, a guy like Mason Taylor, bigz, who you have high aspirations for. You had him pegged potentially as one of your bold calls, finishing as a top 10 tight end. So if there's value like that later on, I'm going to not nabble it up, especially after a run like this that I just seen.
Yep.
All right. So now it's my pick. I'm looking at some situations here. I don't really like the wide receivers at this stage. As far as value goes, I'm looking at a couple guys here. I'm looking at now I'm in a position where I think I can land a quarterback in a safe spot. I could maybe even wait a bit longer, but I think this is my chance to get a guy who I think has potential to finish as a top 10, quarterback this year. He's got that rushing upside and some weapons that are going to be unscathed. So I like Bo Nix this year. Now it's my pick again, and I'm going to go with Emeka Ibuka, another guy that I think has a lot of potential this year to finish as a top 24 wide receiver. I think that the cards are laying out for him to be there right away. Chris Godwin hasn't participated yet in training camp. It looks like he may have a slow start to 2025. And if that were to happen, we already know that Ibuka excels in the slot, but he also can play the outside with an aging Mike Evans, who last week on the show, Schultze put him as a reach there as someone he's not drafting in 2025. So if that were to happen, I'm looking at Ibuka here as a guy that I could rely on down the stretch in the latter half, especially when you look at the two top guys I drafted earlier on in Drake London and Malik Nabers. I think getting a guy like Ibuka here is a smash for me.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that Chris Olave just went off the board. He was available at your pick, and the fact is he is the wide receiver one. He's the number one target earner. It doesn't, like I was saying before, it doesn't matter how bad a team is going to be. The wide receiver one, the number one target earner on a team, it's the one that you want to draft. And I just can't understand why Chris Olave has fallen so far. He would have been my pick right there if he had still been around. But I went with the guy that I will not leave a draft without, and we'll talk about him in a little bit.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, Chris Olave, I think some of the scare there is potentially the quarterback situation, but I mean, he's shown that he could play with quite a few, not so great quarterbacks with some of the history that Derek Carr's been under as far as his injuries and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that Olave is being undervalued and had, maybe I was kind of, waffling between the two guys. So, yeah, I mean, kind of a situation here where, I see an upside play down the line where Chris Olave is a guy that I'd be splitting hairs with there too this year in redraft for sure.
Yep, and I just got my quarterback. Drake May was available to me. I believe he was my 9th round pick.
That's a great pick.
9th round pick.
In the 9th round for someone that could steam up the board with how much he's got that opportunity to rush. And I really like that pick for you, bigz. Well done on getting your two guys there that I know you had your eye on. And I had a tweet go out last week on some of the guys that I was looking forward to getting into this draft, and got a couple of them already here, and a couple of them slipped through my fingers, and got another one on the slate here that I'm really excited to get, and hopefully I can get him in this turn here, this 9-10 turn, because that's kind of where I see his value hitting maximum potential here, especially when we look at where he's been and where he's headed. So we'll get into our spotlights after the draft is done and see if bigz and I were able to nab the guys that we were looking to get in this draft. See Austin Eckler go in, Deebo Samuel just goes, and now I'm going to be going a little bit further down. Should probably get a tight end here, but
you can wait until your last pick and you'll be fine.
Exactly. There you go. Okay, so just pick Travis Etienne, a guy that I think has got some good value here as well. And now I'm back on the clock, and I'm going to make my pick. And let's take a look here at the board. I don't see a whole lot. Oh, there's another guy I really like here, Jaden Higgins. I think that, he's had a strong camp so far from what I heard, and things are looking to be, lined up for Jaden Higgins in 2025. bigz, you saw him firsthand at the Senior Bowl, and you caught wind of him there. Obviously before that, you followed him a bit, but seeing him in your eyes, great player, got the size there. Now he's got the draft capital, and he's gone with a gunslinger like CJ Stroud. So what are your thoughts on Higgins this year?
So one of the things that it reminds me of is another situation with a different Higgins, and that's T. Higgins. And a lot of the reports out of camp, and trust me, I'm a big skeptic when it comes to camp reports, especially on day 1 and 2. But somebody was talking about the Cincinnati Bengals and how they have 2 wide receiver ones in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And I think that's going to be the case with Nico Collins and Jaden Higgins at some point, as everybody's going to be able to look at them as it's not necessarily an either or thing. It's a both.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that there's some definitely some pie to be split up there for sure between the two of them. And I think Jaden Higgins could turn into a really solid play in 2025 even. You picked Cedric Tillman, a guy coming off, a 4-game stretch in 2024 that was almost elite there. And had he not been injured, I think that would have continued on and solidified. I know a lot of us have really high hopes for Cedric Tillman as a later round guy that you can get, and he could potentially be a wide receiver too for your squad. What are your thoughts on Tillman, picking him in the 10th round there, Biggs?
I love Cedric Tillman. I think he's the wide receiver one in that Cleveland offense, and I smash him whenever I can.
Yeah, I mean that offense, they're still looking for their quarterback, obviously, and that's going to be something to monitor throughout the whole training camp on who gets those first team reps and who's leading the charge there. It's going to be a very murky situation, and a guy like Cedric Tillman is a guy that can come down with the ball, and don't matter who the quarterback is, he's got that contested catch ability. So I think that that's a solid play there, Biggs.
So now we're in a point in the draft. We've got I have three positional bench spots left, right? So I'm going to be looking to fill out my roster with some high upside guys that could maybe win a job a little bit later. There still are a lot of wide receivers there, but I'm kind of pivoting to running back at this point. Tony Pollard is my only bench running back. I'm staring down the barrel at a few right now that I really, really like. One whose opportunity just opened up for him, and hopefully he's going to be the guy that I'm able to grab. So an opening window. I see a guy down there who for the last 6 weeks has been I thought he was in a good spot, but apparently after the last couple of days, he's a closed window. But yeah, this is when you want to start taking your handcuffs, your just in cases. I mean, we're pretty much filled out at this point. These are not the picks in the draft that are going to win you the league or sink you at this point.
Exactly, but you may be able to find that late round gem like a Puka Nacua or a James Robinson in these fields. Do you have a guy that might have that potential here in 2025, Biggs, that you can maybe give our viewers a little bit of insight on who you got high on that you're going to be drafting? Obviously not your spotlight, but maybe another guy later round.
Right now, Dylan Sampson.
Okay.
So I was able to profile Dylan Sampson in our rookie guide, and he's in a spot right now where Jerome Ford is kind of dinged up a little bit. Quinshon Judkins, who was the projected RB1 of in that room, is now facing some legal issues and stuff. And Dylan Sampson has the explosiveness to really wow people right here. He's got the opportunity in camp. He's going to have the opportunity in the preseason games. And there is a world in which Dylan Sampson is the RB1 in Cleveland to start the season. And then the other guy is Roschon Johnson. I will never give up on Roschon Johnson, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you had an affinity for Roschon for a couple of years now, and
his time's going to come.
He's making some splash plays in camp that I've seen as of today. So yeah, man, the sky's open there for Roschon to have a season, and we'll see if that ends up happening for him in an offense that is ascending. They got a new head coach in Ben Johnson, and we'll see what happens if Caleb can put it all together. I think Roschon can be a guy that can get some red zone usage quite a bit here. He could be upwards of over 10 touchdowns if everything goes his way. Now we're seeing a strategy here, Biggs, and I want to get your take on it here. Now we got defenses ripping off the board right now, pretty heavily. And what's your take on defensive situation? Are we picking a defense this early? Are we picking kickers? Are we waiting? Are we even drafting them at this stage?
I mean, you don't have to. Actually, you do in ESPN. Sorry, we are sleeper people. You do have to pick. So I have one bench spot left. Once I take that bench spot, it's going to force me to take a defense and a kicker. So we have to on ESPN. Right now, I have a defense that I'm looking at. I talked about the team just a little bit ago, and they're not on everybody's radar this year, but they were everybody's first defensive special teams pick last year. And again, they have the easiest schedule in the NFL, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, easy schedule. that is what you're looking for, especially if you're streaming the position. Oh, there it is, the San Francisco 49ers. I thought that was where you were headed there, Biggs, when you mentioned about their ease of schedule. I think that this year could be the year for them to really make a surge in the NFC again. They had a tough schedule last year, which was plagued by injury, and they're still a force to be reckoned with. They still have a lot of great pieces in that offense, and I see this being a bounce back year for the 49ers in general.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and take a kicker with my next pick, and Brandon Aubrey is right there, and I got one more guy queued up, and I'm pretty sure he's safe. He's going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Aubrey here. I mean, look at the Dallas Cowboys offense where, they don't really have that power run game that we're used to in years past. And, they got a couple of strong weapons in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, but they may have some issues in the red zone scoring. So maybe this Brandon Aubrey could be a very fruitful pick as a kicker, being in a lot of scoring opportunities and high power offense. Yeah. If we're talking kickers, that's kind of what you're going for. Guys are going to be in position a lot, and Aubrey will be there for sure.
I mean, he's been the highest scoring or second highest scoring kicker the last couple seasons in a row, so I don't see that changing much. And it's a kicker. Don't overthink it, you guys. Feel free to stream, but ESPN makes you take one, so just take the best one.
Yeah, exactly. Take the one that you can, and I'm going to go with Butker.
Of course you are.
There it is. Okay, my last pick. Let's take a look here at who could.
Don't snipe me, bro. Don't snipe me, bro.
This could be relevant. We're gonna see. I'm gonna go with a blast from the past here, and he's unsigned, but that is okay because he's been looking, and so we're going with some high upside players here at this stage. I want to hear what bigz' last guy is before we get into our spotlights. And
you know who it is.
I know who it is. Yeah. I love it. He should be around still for you, bigz.
He's been running with the ones the first couple days. Every time there is a 3 wide receiver set,
and that's Thornton.
He is out there, and that is Dante Thornton Jr. of the Las Vegas Raiders.
I love it, bigz. I think this draft went pretty good for us. I think that I like how you went on the top half of the draft, and I went on the bottom half, and we have quite different builds, but I think both of our teams could certainly make a splash here in 2025. Let's recap your team. You got Ashton Jeanty, Trey McBride, solid picks there. Ken Walker, Jackson Smith-Njigba, DK Metcalf, Jakobi Meyers, Tony Pollard, Jawan Jennings, Drake May, Cedric Tillman, Josh Downs, Dylan Sampson, Roschon Johnson, the 49ers, Brandon Aubrey, and Deontay Thornton.
It's Dante. It's not Deontay. The only thing that I would look at and critique about this roster is running back depth. Tony Pollard is going to have to finish as a top 15 running back for this team to be okay. Other than that, with Jeanty and Walker, I'm pretty much like set and forget. And then after Pollard, it's Dylan Sampson and Roschon Johnson. So I might have overplayed wide receiver a little bit, but I still have some pretty fantastic wide receivers. A lot of my wide receivers are candidates to wind up as wide receiver 2s. So if I can come out of this draft and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receiver 2s out of 24, I don't hate that.
Yeah. Now, to recap my draft here, I ended up getting a monster turn here with Malik Nabers and Drake London, 2 guys who I said that I thought were going to finish as top 5 wide receivers. So I'm really happy about that depth. Alvin Kamara, Breece Hall, I think both those guys will have really good seasons. Jameson Williams, who I've got pegged as a really big bounce candidate here as a breakout year for him. He had a breakout last year, but I think he's going to build off that and potentially be the number 1 wide receiver in Detroit. Trey Van Henderson, that late season surge I'm looking for to help solidify my running back room. I really like Bo Nix and Mecca Buka. Travis Etienne we'll get into a little bit more as far as rounding out my running back room. My top 4, I'm really solid, I think. 3, 4 guys that I potentially could, be the number 1 guys in their offense. Jaden Higgins, great upside. Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft. I like the two back-to-back guys. I got that rookie who might take some time to develop, but he could be a target hog in the Colts offense if Daniel Jones is the guy hucking the rock, and Tucker Kraft with that yak ability. I think that he's got another strong season ahead of him. And to round it off with the Eagles and Butker, and then Matthew Stafford as my backup quarterback for some stability there, big. So overall.
Oh, I didn't take a backup quarterback or a second tight end. Look at me.
Yeah, you're in shambles, right? No. I think Biggs knows his strategy, and he was ready for what the tide brings on the waiver wire there for him. You know, one quarterback league, you don't necessarily need to carry a backup whatsoever. Now, Biggs, let's hear from our sponsor, the Southern Bluegrass Fantasy Football Tournament. It's headed in the next little while. And let's hear all about it.
Looking to take your fantasy football experience to the next level? The Southern Bluegrass Fantasy Football Championship, or SBFFC, is the premier live in-person single-entry tournament east of Las Vegas and is happening in Bowling Green, Kentucky, just north of Nashville and south of Louisville. Join fantasy football diehards for a 2-day draft weekend filled with energy, competition, and community. Expect free beer, bourbon, barbecue, and live entertainment hosted by the Western Kentucky University Dance Team. You'll draft on massive FJFantasy.com boards, enjoy giveaways, and even have a chance to win signed memorabilia and bourbon bottles through raffles and a silent auction. The SBFFC is securely managed through LeagueSafe.com, with all prize money held and paid out at the end of the season and championship round. Winners walk away with stunning Trophy Smack trophies and belts, and of course, lifelong bragging rights. To learn more, check out the official promo video on YouTube and click to visit SBFFC.com for full details. For questions or to reserve your spot, email Dr. Brian Harwood directly at brian.harwood@twc.com.
Yeah, do that. It'll be a great time. All right, folks. Thanks for their sponsor there. Now let's get into our spotlights, Biggs. Before the draft, we had circled a guy, each of us, that we wanted to make sure that we drafted, and it was still of value. So did you end up getting your guy?
I absolutely did get my guy.
Okay, let's roll your
my guy was Jawan Jennings. So go ahead and cut that. My guy was Jawan Jennings. Now, I don't know if I've made it clear throughout the course of this video, but the San Francisco 49ers have the easiest schedule in the NFL this year. They have a top 12, top 10 quarterback in Brock Purdy, who is a top 3 quarterback in fantasy points per dropback. They have an innovative offense, and they basically have 3 weapons. Whoever their wide receiver is that they're going to at the time, George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey. Now, what that leaves is the wide receiver 1 spot. Now, who was the wide receiver 1 for the San Francisco 49ers? Well, on the roster, ostensibly, it's Brandon Ayuk. But Brandon Ayuk isn't going to start the season. He's probably not going to come in. He's going to start the season on PUP. He's probably not even going to come in until the second half of the year. He's dealing with a pretty catastrophic injury that ended his season last year. And who was there to pick up the pieces when Ayuk was out and Samuel was out? It was Jawan Jennings. Jawan Jennings is the main target in the wide receiver room. Ricky Pearsall, he's got a lot of steam because he had a couple big games. But I liked Jacob Cowing going into the 2024 draft more than I liked Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall had hamstring issues, and then he got shot, and he became, the cause celeb. Like, okay, everybody get on board with Ricky Pearsall because he's coming back from getting shot. Well, he couldn't get on the field because of his hamstring issues before he got shot. So then he comes back, he has a couple big games, and guess what he's dealing with right now? Soft tissue injuries that are hampering his camp. He's still not going to be 100%. He's going to probably get started practicing this weekend, and Jacob Cowing just went down. So now Cowing's out. Demarcus Robinson is the only other guy who's kind of reliable in that wide receiver room. So Jawan Jennings, especially in the 9th and 10th round, I think I got him in the 90s in this draft. He was the ESPN ADP they had on him was like 96 or 98 or something like that. So that's firmly in the 9th round. I would take him in the 8th round just to make sure that you have him. I will not leave a draft this year without Jawan Jennings.
There you have it, a firm take on Juwan Jennings, all the opportunity in the world, and there was some murmurs about him holding out, but he reported to camp. He's no fool. He knows where his bread's going to get buttered here. And
he's got the leverage. He knows.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a big year for him, I think, and bigz hit it there as well. And I got a guy here for my spotlight who I ended up getting in the draft as well, and that's Travis.
Play the video. Good job, producer.
So, I know it's been a while. I've been a bit rusty. Sorry. Shout out to Schultze. He has got an emergency at home. His son is a little bit under the weather. So, shout out to Lincoln. Hopefully, you feel better in the near future here, buddy. I know it's not easy being sick, but a guy that I got is in lieu of Schultze not being here. It's one of his Jaguars, and I'm going to talk about Travis Etienne not being washed, and I think he's being wildly overlooked. I got him in the 10th round, and he's being, drafted pretty regularly in the 11th round at ADP 116, RB 37, but when healthy, he's proven to be a fantasy difference maker who checks all the boxes of upside, pass catching, and playmaking ability. He's got the exact profile you should be targeting in rounds 10, 11, or 12. His fall to RB 37 is more noise than talent. Yes, new head coach Liam Cohen, he brings uncertainty, but let's not forget what Cohen did with mid-round backs like Bucky Irving and Rashad White last year. He elevated them into featured roles through scheme and usage, and Etienne is a more dynamic talent than both of those guys. If Cohen ever partially unlocks that pass catching upside, Etienne can be a major PPR value without needing that bell cow volume. You're not drafting a backup, you're drafting an elite talent in a cloudy situation, and that's where league winning picks live, and that's where I think Travis Etienne lies here. And he's only 26 years old. He's got a lot going for him, and with Liam Cohen there, he's my guy. RB 37, that is just ridiculous. It's robbery at this stage in the game.
Yep, I absolutely agree. And hey, Mike, you changed the show sheet because I was going to say, hey, let me share Schultze's guy, and then I look down and it says Schultze's guy, and it's the guy I took.
Schultze's guy was a guy that you took in this.
I thought Schultze had somebody else. So, again, shout out Lincoln. Lincoln is going through what I went through last weekend. I was very, very sick over the weekend. I had the flu, and I tried to stay in the group chat. It wasn't because I was drunk. It wasn't. But, projectile vomiting is not fun. And anyway, so Schultze's must-draft player is somebody that I took because I try and grab him as often as I can, and that's Indianapolis Colts wide receiver Josh Downs. Now, no matter what happens with Michael Pittman, no matter what happens with anybody at the tight end position, no matter what happens, Josh Downs is the guy. He's the best player on the field for the Indianapolis Colts season in and season out. It doesn't matter who their quarterback is. It doesn't matter who his competition is. It doesn't matter if Jonathan Taylor is healthy or not. Josh Downs is the guy to own on the Indianapolis Colts. If we're talking best ball, I might throw out some other guys, on that Colts team. But Josh Downs, he's the guy. Schultze made him a must draft, so I went ahead and I got Schultze's back and I grabbed him.
Love it. All right, bigz. What a great show. We went through a pretty intense mock draft there. We both got championship teams, so we'll see each other in the final. We both won the mock draft. Hopefully our viewers
I won the mock draft.
Okay. Hopefully our viewers got
I've never lost a mock draft. It's crazy.
I know, me neither. Well, our viewers, I think, got great sides of the story here. One from the first end of the draft and one from the back end. And I think we did a great job, giving our insights here, bigz. Tell everybody where you can find all our stuff and what we're doing these days.
On YouTube.
There you go.
FantasySportsAdvice.com. Go to the Fantasy Sports Advice Network app and follow us. Follow this show. Like it, subscribe. Get us in the comments. Tell us how stupid our draft picks were. Tell us how wrong I was to just take one quarterback because you got to have whatever. Just argue with us in the comments. We love it. And buy the merch. That's linked down below on YouTube and also at the Fantasy Sports Advice app. Come visit us in Canton, Ohio, August 7th. Well, it's the 6th, but we're not available until the 8th. So we've got things to do, and all that stuff. Subscribe, hit the bell, all the call to action things. Do them.
You know what? And bigz and I are going to be streaming together in Canton for the fantasy forecast the week of August 5th, 6th, 7th. So you're going to see us together side by side.
Our podcast from the Pirates game.
Let's do it. All right, folks. From all of us on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, have a great week. We hope you win.
We hope you win.
Peace.